Woman Who Chat is sponsored by Grow Radio. Grow Radio is an online radio station dedicated to bringing you a different podcast on the hour, every hour. I'm proud that Woman Who Chat is played on Grow Radio every Tuesday at 3 p.m. and Friday at 8 a.m. and to be a part of their podcasting community. If you want to listen to the station, explore their shows, check out many of the blogs to improve your podcasting skills, or get your podcast onto Grow Radio, head over to growradio.uk today. Welcome to Woman Who Chat, and today I'm chatting with Michelle Leivars, the female business mentor. Hello, Michelle.
Hello, Sandra. It's been a while.
It has. We've chatted before, but obviously you've gone a completely different direction now, and we'll come on to that in a bit. Well, when we last chatted, you were running a product-based business, you had a retail space, you took that business online, you've sold that business, you've moved into something new, you're now the female business mentor. Is that about right?
Yeah, you make it sound really mental, but actually it probably is, to be fair.
That's over about the last sort of 18 months, 2 years, isn't it? You've gone on a journey. Yeah.
100%. It was, I would say the last 12 months have been kind of, as hard as they've been, the most like transformational for me, probably of my entire life. So yeah, it's been a journey for sure.
And I say this to my mastermind members, you need to look back sometimes to appreciate how far you've come. And I think if you were to revisit the last 12 months, you've not only transformed in business, but you've moved house as well. It's a whole, you've probably had the most stressful 12 months, I would imagine, as well.
Yeah, it definitely has been. But I would say the way that my mindset is now compared to how it was a year ago, I definitely think that I'm in a far better place to be able to take lessons from the things that have happened. I think if you'd have said to me 12 months ago, all of these things are going to happen in quick succession, I'd have probably cried and gone under the duvet or something. But I don't know. I just think that my mindset is very different, and I'm able to take a bit more of a step back now because I know that's what works for me, and really kind of look at what I can get out of situations that are negative instead of kind of sitting in them. So I'm super grateful for everything that's happened.
And I think the mindset plays a huge factor in everything we do. I try to adopt a positive mindset. I try to adopt, where possible, a growth mindset to keep possibilities open, because I think if you can make that space sometimes and try something new, even if it doesn't work out, you've tried it, you've learned from it, and you can move forward and think, well, that didn't work, but this might work, and you can sort of try something different. I think so often we just throw in the towel and say, oh, that didn't work, I'm not doing it. But actually, if we think things through, it may not be a straight route. We might deviate a little bit, but
lots of bumps along the way.
Lots of bumps. Oh, that's what I say at the start of this podcast. Business is a roller coaster, and it really is. It's it's not a straight path. And I think some people start a business, and I know that you're mentoring startups as well as female businesses. But sometimes, when I'm talking to a startup and they say, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and they've got all these high expectations
and all the energy as well.
And they hit that 6-month wall, and it doesn't quite go as fast as they thought it was going to go. And I was, I've chatted to other business owners, and they say, oh, I just expected everyone to come to me. I've opened, here I am. But there's a lot of work you have to do. It takes a while to get known, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it takes a while for you to get into your own stride as well, and to find out what works along the way and perhaps what doesn't. So I think it's a journey of not only self-discovery when you're in business, but it's a journey of becoming a business owner at the same time. So it's like a tandem thing.
Yeah. Now, you were an award-winning business owner through your product-based business. So what was the flip? What was the light bulb moment that turned you into the female business mentor?
A lot of things had happened, like both personally and professionally, during that time, and I'd come out of a really dark time and decided to kind of focus my life in a direction of, I want to be able to be happy in what I'm doing. Although I was happy doing my product business and that's where it brought me to, I felt like I needed to do more to help other people. And I feel like that it's always been part of my personality to want to help and to want to kind of encourage others. And it just kind of clicked and made sense. So that's what made me decide to go into business mentoring, because I know how difficult it is at the very beginning and during, especially if you don't have somebody that you can, you know, bounce ideas off and really get support from. So yeah, that's what brought me to that decision.
It can be a lonely place, I think, when you start out in business, because invariably you're
Yeah.
starting on your own. And, you know, it's about finding positive people to surround yourself, because
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, and I remember my mum saying this to me, don't worry, you can always get a proper job, you know, and it's that
Oh.
those,
Yeah.
those people around, you don't want to hear that, you know, you don't want to hear
No.
a proper job. You don't worry, if it all fails, you know, you can go
Mhm.
wherever, stacking shelves at Tesco or whatever. But
Yeah.
and you don't want to hear that from people around you. What you
No,
want is that buzz of excitement, people saying, wow, that's great. Yeah, I'll support you, you know.
definitely.
And when I see women in business, and I did this many years ago, a friend was starting a business, and I thought, do you know what? I'll take her along to a networking event. And she said I was one of
Wow.
the only people that reached out at that time to do that.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
she was really grateful for that, because it gave her that confidence then to go out into the marketplace. And it is,
Yeah.
when you've come out of the corporate world and suddenly you start this business, yes, you have got the energy, but it's quite nerve-wracking taking that leap into
It is.
as a different person, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Especially because if you've gone from, like you say, the corporate environment, you're used to the way that it works. But then when you come out of that, you feel almost like a deer in the headlights. And unless you've got that network of support around you or people around you to kind of guide you and help you, it can kind of feel like you're failing before you've even started, because you've just not got that experience just yet.
Yeah. And I will say, Michelle, I mean, I've known you for a few years now. The first time I think you really came to the fore really was when you stepped on that stage, when you won the award, Woman Who Achieves Awards, and the judges had said you need to be confident
Mhm.
about yourself, you know, have belief in yourself. And you've literally over the, I know you've gone through a journey, but you are that confident person now. You come across as confident now, whereas before you hadn't got that belief in yourself. So where's that come from then?
No.
How have you built on that sort of mindset to be this confident, to be able to go out there and help other businesses?
Do you know what? I think it comes from a place of stepping my own self aside, because I will always have my own confidence issues. And that's something that's been ingrained in me since I was younger. And it's something that I'm always going to be working on. But I think when it comes to being so passionate about what I do and helping other women gain that confidence, that traction, I think that's where it comes from. Because although it seems to you that I'm super confident, I'm just super passionate, and that's all it is, because then everything else goes out the window. Because if I'm doing it for a purpose and not just standing here and saying, oh, I'm really confident in myself, more I am confident that I can help you in your own business. And I think that's where that comes from.
That's really interesting, the way you link that to passion as well, because I believe if we follow our passion, we actually share far more, and we're far more effective really in reaching people and helping them and giving them the tools that they need to move forward, because we're speaking
Yeah.
from a place of not only experience, but our own passion oozes through. And
Yeah, definitely.
and that does give you an air of confidence. But there has been a transformation in you, and it's lovely to see.
Oh,
It is lovely to see, from that very quiet, nervous person that was standing on that stage a few
I
years.
know. I watch the videos sometimes and I'm like, who is she now?
Yeah. And I think that's happened over a period of time. Obviously, I remember you came into the studio during the pandemic when we were
Yeah.
recording interviews, and I could see your confidence starting to grow then. You've
Mhm.
obviously worked on yourself. And I think, you
Yeah.
know, I work on myself all the time. I think it's important to do. But it's, you know, when you're working on yourself, it's for the benefit of the clients at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think as well though, Sandra, with you saying that, as I was coming into like the studio and things, it was because Woman Who was such a safe space, because of what you've created, a community whereby it feels safe to be a bit more yourself. You know, you can have other networking groups and academies and awards and things like that, that you still feel nervous. With Woman Who, I don't think I've ever felt that kind of fear. And I think that's what makes it easier to make that transition into becoming more confident, because you feel so safe with the amazing women that are around you.
Oh, thanks for saying that. And I do say that Woman Who is a journey.
It
Um,
is.
and you step into, whether it's coming along to a network meeting or entering the awards, it's the start of
Mhm.
that journey, and it's the
Yeah,
people you meet along the way. And I find it really, every year I look at it and people buy a ticket and come on their own, which is perfectly
yeah,
fine. And
yeah,
so many people feel confident or not to walk in that room on their own because it is a safe space.
definitely.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that I'm proud that I've created, a place where women
Mhm.
literally come on their own and be on their own, yet feel
Yeah.
surrounded by people, because there's
Yeah, there's not many other events that you can do that with. Like, I would have no hesitation, even at the beginning, of buying a ticket and coming on my own,
yeah,
because you just get that feeling. You know, like when I see like new women coming into, like, new members in the Facebook group, I like sit there and I'm like, oh my God, it's so exciting. Like, you have no idea what's in store for you. And then being able to watch their journeys, watch them grow. You must just sit back like a proud mum all the time.
sometimes, but I love the collaborations, I love the connections, and I know
Yeah.
connected quite closely with a number of members that probably you wouldn't have
Yeah.
had it not been through Woman Who. And that's lovely to see that you each reach out to support each other, and I think that's
Yeah.
a really good thing that's come out of it as well. You know, there's so many
Mhm.
foundations, so many people that have connected with each other in the community, and
Yeah,
I'm really proud of that as well. So
definitely.
yeah, what's on the horizon then, Michelle? What's coming up?
Well, because obviously, as you know, I'm so passionate about helping women. I was thinking to myself over the past few months, because obviously sold my product business now, actually only just last week. Finally, we got there. I knew that I needed something else to kind of fulfill me at the same time. So I'm officially a trainee financial planner for an amazing company called Women's Wealth. And literally, it ties in with my ethos so much, because if I can support women in their business and their lives, you know, supporting them with something as astronomically important as their finances and their future finances, I just thought it was just a match made in heaven. So I'm currently studying towards my diploma, and yeah, it's all super exciting. And I actually had my first two industry nominations and finalist shortlist this year. So I'm officially Emerging Coach of the Year finalist at the National Coaching Awards, which is crazy. And at the Great British Business Women Awards, I've been selected as a finalist for Support Network of the Year, which I thought was like mind blowing, because I'm just one person. You know, I'm not actually a network. So it's just crazy.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And I see where the fit comes, and to go out and start learning something completely new, I think is great
Yeah.
as well. You know, we're always learning, we're always developing, and there's a
Mhm.
nice mix there. And money especially, women need that support, because historically it was men that earned the money, it was men that did the investments, it was men
Yeah.
that had the pensions. And over the last couple of decades, women have started their own businesses, but probably haven't
Mhm.
thought about their financial planning. And I know it was
Yeah.
something that I received really bad advice on financial planning years ago, because there was
Oh
always
no.
the assumption that the women would live off their husband's pensions. And that's not the case.
Really?
Yeah, I was asked by a well-meaning friend to opt out of my pension when I was
Oh
in
no.
that place. And it's not until you get to a certain age that you think, oh, I haven't got a pension.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are a lot of women out there, especially when you're self-employed, because when you're looking at all your outgoings each month, I bet
Mhm.
pension isn't right at the top and investments isn't right at the top.
No,
Probably,
it won't be.
it's probably how am I going to pay myself? Whereas
Yeah.
I think self-employed women don't actually think about that. But it's
Mhm.
not until they get a little bit older that they think, actually, I need to think about my retirement, my future. Although
Definitely.
I'm never going to retire.
No, I don't think you will, Sandra. I tell you what, though, you know, coming from a business growth and a mindset point of view, I've noticed a massive shift with you recently, like both in your professional capacity as well, because I've noticed that it seems that you're doing so much work on your own self rather than just having the community and being the business owner. I feel like you're like really spreading your wings, like as an individual. Would that be about right?
Well, yeah, I think at the moment, well, I've spent a lot of time on personal development and coaching and
Yeah.
things like that over the last 12 months, because I think to be able to give and support my network, to be able to, the academy, the mastermind that I deliver, to be able to give my knowledge, I need to be learning myself and then
Okay.
sharing that knowledge. So
Yeah.
if I just stayed exactly where I was and think, well, I've got all my knowledge now, but there's always capacity to learn. There's always,
Yeah.
you can hear the same things over and over again, but if you hear it from different people, you can take a different perspective on it. And it then
Definitely.
it's those light bulb moments, and I come up with something. Oh, I've got to deliver this to my community, and
Mhm.
yeah, I've
Or
done
you go and break a bone and then you come up with a brand new idea.
no more broken bones. I tell you, I've done my share,
Mm.
yeah, but I've learned things from that as well, which is great. It's great to have the learning from each setback I've
Yeah,
taken and each personal challenge I've had. As you said yourself, I take the learning from that, and that's brought me to where I am and what I'm doing today. So it's
yeah,
helped me to grow. It's helped me to become the person I am today. And, as I
definitely.
said, my mindset is very positive. Out of every negative thing that happens, and that's life, I don't dwell on
Yeah,
them. I think, right, okay, I'm not going to sit and wallow in this. I'm going to make the best of it. I can't do what I wanted to do, but I'm going to do this instead. And that's how
mhm,
I deal with it, and when you're caring for an elderly parent or anything like that, or children, or whether you've got setbacks with your health, whatever that might be, I tend to find that if I put myself in that mindset, well, I can't change it. It's
exactly.
happening. It's how I react to it, and it's how I deal with it. So how am I going to deal with this issue? Well, I could sit there in a duvet, not get out of bed and cry, or I can accept that this is going to happen, but I'm going to
Mhm,
deal with it in this way, and I'm going to be strong, and I'm going to, yeah, I do have moments where I think, oh, and
yeah.
want to swear the night away. But then I'll have other times, and I sit and think, right, okay, it's not going to be a chocolate and wine night tonight. I'm actually going to do something productive. And what I'll do is I won't just sit in front of the TV. I'll put some learning on. I'll watch a podcast or I'll watch a TEDx, and I
Yeah.
actually inspire myself and think, right,
Oh,
I can do this. And
yeah.
doing a lot of that I give myself 1 hour's learning every evening.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, and that's the mindset, and because you've started implementing those changes, they'll become a habit and become normal for
Yeah.
you the more that you do them.
Yeah. And I decided back in February, I set myself a goal to learn Italian this year, and I've done 10 to 15 minutes every single day, and I'm
Oh,
too
are you on
immersed.
Duolingo?
Yes, I am. I've
Yes.
and I've done, and I've done that, and I've taken Italian holidays to immerse myself in the language. I've got an Italian tutor, and it's something, and that again, it's totally away from business, and it's
Mhm.
something just for me. But I'm
Yeah,
using my brain and I'm learning, and I think sometimes we can. This is why I'm sort of anti-retirement, because I think when you retire, you stop,
yeah,
and it's
definitely.
almost as if, and so many friends I've got, have stopped, and then they get
Mhm.
illnesses, and then things happen. I think you know,
Yeah,
when you're learning, you're constantly using that brain. Our brains have got so much capacity that it's a shame to
definitely.
shut them down. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I could chat to you all day, but we've
Me
sadly run
too.
out of time. So I just want to wish you all the best with everything you're doing with your financial planning and,
Thank
the
you.
new venture with a female business mentor. I'm going to ask you, because I always ask my guests, if you want to leave our audience with a piece of advice or a piece of wisdom, what would that be?
I would say don't ever think that you can't. And I think that's about it, because there is every single possibility that you can do anything that you put your mind to.
Absolutely. It takes me back to my mum when I was little, told me I could be anything I wanted to be. And I truly believe that. I think if you put
Yeah.
your mind to something, you can achieve anything. So,
And if you have that passion for it, just follow what your heart tells you.
well, it's been fantastic talking to you. Today, I've been speaking to Michelle Leivars from the Female Business Mentor. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Sandra.